This looks a bit better where I set this up. Can you hear me? Hello?
Yeah, sorry, I was muted. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So we're just gonna talk about Instagram because that's what the last post was really about, and I think that is a good conversation and why I left Instagram. I could not take the content on Instagram anymore. Like it got to the point where it made me not want to live life. Like not like offing myself, nothing crazy like that. I'm just saying the Instagram content I kept seeing was like relationship content, funny girlfriend, funny boyfriend, interracial couples. And I was like, what in the hell is going on? I don't want to see this. And it was all paid ads, sponsorships. I saw content of coworkers that I literally hate. I was like, why am I seeing their work, like seeing their content? Like, I don't even like these people. They weren't even famous before I met them. I'm like, what the hell is going on? You know? And I feel like it is great to see a joyous life, but what if that life that's being displayed as joyous is not the life that you have or want? What does that mean for you? And really had to think to myself, and that made me get rid of Instagram. I have my private account, but I'm not on it because it really did not bring me joy. I didn't think that people that saw my content really liked me for who I was. I had a jealous coworker stalking me. It was pretty nasty. It was pretty bad to see what Instagram has become because of like celebrities. Like I remember a world where we didn't know what the fuck celebrities had or did. And like I comment on celebrity content only because it gets the attention of viewers so that we can comment on bigger discussions. But quite frankly, I don't give a goddamn shit about celebrities. I just comment on it so that I can make my money. And it's really tiring.
Yeah. I think like we were talking about before and that like celebrity content is so forced like down our throats whether you're into them or not. It's something that you're always going to see and like be affected by, unfortunately, especially because everything they do is paid, whether we know it's promotional or not. The fact that they exist on those platforms is some kind of monetary value to those platforms because sadly some people are on those platforms for the purpose of following these individuals. They have a big parasocial relationship with them. And it's become harder and harder, than how it was back in the day when there was no algorithm to be made and things weren't, the algorithm didn't exist for the purpose of capitalism as much as it does now. So it was just very random. You could see celebrities and you could see just normal people. But it's kind of like it's harder for people to just get anywhere. And that's why I think half the time when people do, like there's some kind of Nepo baby because of the fact that they have some hidden connection that they just find and exploit to get to the point that where they are. So they have this like
I
relationship with social
agree.
media. And it's like we're unaware of that because they don't ever reveal it until like maybe later down in their career people expose them, but it's like, now it's like kind of something that's just accepted like, oh, this person is just here whatever. But it's like unfortunate because for everyone else who's normal and happens to have some kind of social media, like we feel like, dang, like why is it so hard to see my friends? Why is it so hard to interact with my friends? Why does everybody also want to be a celebrity all of a sudden or want to be like a Instagram famous or TikTok famous or something? Like everybody's trying. And it's not that it's like wrong to make content because it could be fun and it could be fun to like make stuff with your friends. But I think that the meaning has changed and what and why people wanna make content too, because they see other people doing it and getting famous off of it, and then they'll just kind of become obsessed with it. And I think that it's like, do you guys really like this stuff, like making this content or doing these dances, or is it just something to like you wish you could go viral and like have that moment? Like I think some people really pray for the moment that they go viral as if it really means anything. But half the time people who go viral like end up just like going into oblivion afterwards, which is kind of weird. Like it's just a weird, strange thing, I think, that makes people feel so like chosen by the algorithm or something, and it's like sometimes that just doesn't happen, and that's okay. Like, it doesn't mean that your content is not worthwhile, it doesn't mean that what you have to say isn't more important or just as important as anybody else. Like, I just think that the algorithm itself is so saturated and it's so just biased by the things that, promote it and the money that's being funneled into it. And that includes, like, just
Yeah.
racism bias and all this other stuff,
Yes, like,
you
I feel
know?
like it just got to the point where, like, I just couldn't be on Instagram anymore, like, I wouldn't want someone to run me out of a community, but, like, Instagram just got too racist for me. I was like, "Why do I keep seeing content when I know the deal because I fucked with military dudes. I know the deal. I know what's up. So I know what it is. I know when I see these big white ladies in a house with a black man, this is the government spending money on this nasty ass relationship. They out here having sex with everybody on the turf. Please. But when everyone else sees it, they think it's a God driven family, a God driven. I'm like, come on. These niggas be cheating their ass off and slapping their wives. Please.
It's true. I think too that people like it's so easy to romanticize something that you
Oh,
see
fucking
online
annoying.
without knowing somebody or without knowing their whole life or their history because like we were saying before too, you can push a narrative however many times you want and people will have the impression that you're sharing your whole life with them. And that's what
Mm,
a parasocial relationship is. It's like you see especially with celebrities, we think that we see their whole life because like, how can you not be online 24/7 and be sharing and share like, keep something from us? But people keep stuff from people all the time, especially celebrities, like, a
mhm.
lot of that stuff is pre-made and it's posted, like, on purpose, like, in days by their
Well,
publisher,
I'm
their
not talking
manager.
about celebrities more so in
Well,
this
too, but
situation.
people also like, normal people have followed suit, though, in that is what I'm trying to say, like, like, in people who, like, wanna be influencers too and wanna push their relationships, especially online, like, they follow suit with that. It's like, they know that you can pretend to post your whole life online and people will believe that and have that parasocial relationship with you and think that this is something to look up to or romanticize, but at the same time, it's like, you don't show that this person is abusive unless it becomes to a point where you're no longer gaining from that relationship and you have something to gain by exposing the partner for being abusive or whatever the case is or the DV or what or the violence just gets out of control. Like that's often what happens too with like those weird relationships that are like semi popular but not and they're just random people on the internet. Like something always happens where they end up exposing each other for something. Like we saw that too with like what was it that couple who was like kind of they were like religious and Christian. Everybody thought they were like green flags and then all of a sudden, oh, he cheated. Like, like something always happens in
Wait,
those
what couple are
spaces.
you talking about? What couple are you talking? I don't know what the
It
heck you
was like
talking
that
about.
girl who like she used to prank her husband and all that stuff. I forget their names.
She
But
was Jehovah's Witness.
yeah, and they were really religious, and I'm like, look at like, literally, it doesn't matter, but people think like, "Oh, just because they're looking conservative, they're looking Christian, they have, like, children together, they have this, they have a house, they have money apparently." They think that all of that means that these people are good people or that they have a good relationship, and it's so easy to hide that, though, from people, like, but people kind of believe what they wanna believe, sadly, so the people who post these videos and this content, they know that they could push a false narrative into the world and just post whatever about their relationship and pretend that it's good. It's so easy to pretend something is good when you're really just not showing anything bad, you know? But sadly, people believe that, and I think that's the same thing when it comes to, like, toxic interracial content or anything like that because you can push a narrative that something is beneficial or whatever and play into misogyny, play into racism, play into colorism. You could play into all those things and push that narrative and some people will believe that unfortunately because they think that everything that they see is to be taken as face value, which is just not true. That's just not it's
I
just not true.
will say maybe it's just my opinion, but I've always found it like, I find black men attractive, and I always wondered why is it an attractive black man? Maybe he works out, he looks like he could be healthy. Is always with the ugliest white woman I've ever seen in my life online. And like it's not that I'm jealous. People say you're jealous. I'm not jealous because they're all pieces of shit men. But I always wonder, like, maybe something's wrong with black men who try to go to the gym. I don't know what's wrong with them when it comes to online content. Like, I find that the richest and the like best personality black men online date black women like Dwayne Wade. Um, but I always get confused when I see this content. That's why it just got to be too much. It got to be too much for me because I don't want to see a world where black people are bleached. I don't want to see our race get erased because of social media. Like, that's not like, the statistics are shown that these relationships are terrible. So I'm like, I see people in the comments that are so fucking weird and talking about the relationship as if they're in it, and it's really bizarre to me. But I think it just started to rub me the wrong way seeing so much interracial content. And it's like, this content shouldn't have rubbed me any type of way, but it did. And I get upset at myself because I'm like, I should have just been able to stay on the internet and bypass it. But I'm like, no, I don't feel good using this app if this is what it wants to promote. I try to speak to my phone and say black people, sexy black women, black, black, black. It don't work. I don't know why. Like, the people that's supposed to listen and take your words and put it into your Instagram, it don't work. So I don't know what the fuck
Yeah,
is going on.
it is not your fault though for feeling a type of way because there are certainly like so many intentional like racist undertones in many aspects if not every aspect of media. Like you can even look at like we talked about like before in previous conversations about like advertisements, about movies, about trailers, like random shit will just have racist undertones because we have to think about the people who be making this content and the intention that they have behind something, whether it's purposeful or not. There is still like implicit bias in that, especially because the people who tend to be producing these are white or whitewashed, let me say. And so it's not a coincidence, and it's not something to like. You're not crazy at the same time. And so it's just interesting. Like I just feel like what's it called? I feel like sometimes social media makes people feel like they're crazy, like it kind of like promotes all this stuff at the same time because it's kind of like a double-edged sword. It's like you can find such great people online, but at the same time, sometimes even like looking up positive things or positive things for reinforcement will lend you down like a dark path of the opposite in the algorithm. And that's sadly
Yes,
just how it
yes.
works. Like it's like you can look up like pro black this, pro black that, and it will somehow like find a way to push like white people in that space. Like it's very strange. And like I feel like I've noticed that even in like in other aspects, not just like the racial aspect, but that's what happens unfortunately because it for whatever reason people are just always spending money when you want to be bad, like that's how capitalism works. They're exploiting things, and anything that's to be exploited is just never good. Um, so it's like you shouldn't beat yourself up for it at the same time because it is like crazy, and at the same time it is like unhealthy the relationship sometimes people have with social media and thinking that everything is true, you know? Um, and it's not like, "Oh, like, I'm not strong enough to be on this app." Like, I don't think that's true or fair to say because I think that you are strong. I just think that it's like, you don't wanna support something if it's not benefiting you, and I truly realized too, like, a lot of content like, when I got banned from my Instagram, like, a lot of stuff disappeared that I used to see only because I got banned and everything was just wiped, and it shouldn't take that to reset your algorithm, because that's just stupid, like, it's just stupid, and still at the same time, I still see stupid stuff, but, like, it just sucks that it's like they expect us to rewrite everything when that's not how it should be. The algorithm itself is just flawed, and now especially with it being, like, AI driven, like AI in itself has so much bias, that it's like it's just unfair. It's just stupid. So I just think in general though, Instagram is just it's not what it used to be, especially now that it's bought by different people. It's bought by Meta, by Facebook, and like Facebook doesn't care about anybody. Like we see the way that like they don't care about any racist things or any MAGA people or whatever. Like it just makes sense that they really don't care to kind of prevent these things from happening on their platform, sadly. So you're not crazy for that, is all I wanted to say. Hello?
Hey, I'm just walking with my food. Yeah,
Oh.
like, it's it's pretty sad and upsetting. Like, all I have to say is that I love being African American, and I feel like the internet's put me down. I already have a bully video out there. Some guy like tried to make fun of me just because I said that passport bros are terrible people. And I'm like, that always pissed me off. I never watched it, but it's like upsetting that he attacks smaller content creators like me that literally just don't want to do bad things. Like, but then if you're a bad person like Selena Powell, you get rewarded. So I'm just like, maybe I should stop making content. I don't know.
I don't think the answer is to stop making content because then what's the point? I just think that you have to recognize that sometimes there are certain things that are outside of you that you can't control. Like in the system itself of being capitalist, like that's something that you can't control, but it doesn't mean that you can't make a change in the content that you're making.
And he
Like
like makes fun of
you're
more small content creators. Like
right.
he doesn't attack the big people at all.
Because I think that he's a coward and he knows that if he did, that everybody would be coming to his channel and possibly ban him for the content that he posts. Like he would get banned because a lot of that content is inappropriate. He knows that. And that if multiple people, if he were to attack them, like he would be banned. Because I've seen that happen before to
And
creators.
I'm
Like
just
once
like,
they
why make
ever
a video just tarnishing how I look like why make a video about that just because I said I'm such a small content creator? I don't get it. I don't get it.
because I think that it strokes his ego probably, like, he feels offended, he feels so hurt by the things that you say. Like, I truly believe that people like that go out of their way to look up people that talk about the things that they do. Like someone like him is going to purposely spend time online looking for people who are against passport bros so they can talk about them. Like, that's something that people like that do, unfortunately, because they are so like, angry inside, like, especially someone who's, like, a passport bro, like, if you're an incel, you have a lot of anger and trauma and hate towards yourself, and you spend time actively looking for reasons to hate women who don't like incels. People like that really that's what they do, and it's a problem of being chronically online and just not in the world because you don't understand how real people work or think, so you think that you can put, like, a narrative on how somebody believes on how you believe someone to be essentially, which is the issue, like, that's why they're the way they are, unfortunately, and it's not anything to do with you, you just said something that hurt him, and he's probably sadly attracted to you and doesn't want to admit that, and I feel like a lot of men like that get upset when they're attracted to somebody and they know that they're doing something that's just evil, and you can't condone it, you know? Doesn't make it right, I'm just saying that that's the mindset that people
Yeah,
like
no,
that have,
I
they
feel like
purposely
that is
look
true. I
yeah.
saw a few comments in the video and it said like people aren't looking for her. That's her problem. Like she's upset because she's ugly. It was pretty nasty what they said, and it did get to me. And I'm just like, I've always
But you
wanted
know
to make
that's
a
not
response
true.
video, but I don't want to give them any attention. I
Nah,
don't.
because that's something too that they want. They like that so that they can keep going. And that's the problem like with somebody who's like a bully. It's like anybody who's a bully is going through a terrible time on their own and they want to project those ideas and their insecurities onto anyone else. And that's exactly what I hear when people say about women that you're not being chosen, you're not being looked for. I'm like, in what world would anybody choose you if you weren't giving them money to have intercourse with them? Like, in what world would any woman want to actively choose you as a man? Like, these men aren't attractive, whether, emotionally, physically, or like, their personality or their lifestyle. None of that is attractive, but they find ways to, basically convince women to sleep with them or to be with them. Like, if you have to convince somebody to be with you, through something that you have or giving something in exchange, that's not a real relationship. That just makes you feel better because something is filling a
That's
void.
literally why I liked Drewski's show and
Mhm.
everybody was so nasty to me about it. And I was like, he's using sex workers. Y'all want to say these are the pretty women that are being picked for. And he's literally making fun of the fact that he knows if he had no money, they wouldn't even look his motherfucking way. So he clowns them bitches. And I
Mhm.
find it hilarious. He never gives them money.
Yeah, and I think people just get upset because they watch these sex workers. They watch them and they don't wanna disclose that they are watching these girls or that they're getting off to them. They don't wanna disclose that. And I'm like, you would have no reason to be upset, for them to be made fun of, basically. Uh,
Exactly. I'm like, he's not giving them the money, and people are getting so upset about it. And I'm like, this
mhm,
is who you guys are saying I am ugly to. And I'm like,
mhm,
I'm not ugly to them. I'm just not asking for your money. I'm not them.
exactly. Exactly, and that's the thing is, like, you shouldn't have to stroke somebody's ego to be with them. That's just not how relationships
Right.
work. But that's the point is, like, people like that, they have a warped idea of what it is to be in a relationship and what it is to feel like, I don't think that any of those men actually want to be loved. I think what they want to be is, on top. They
Mm.
want power. They want a power dynamic in a relationship because they feel in some way, whether it's true or not, they feel in some way that they've been hurt by a woman. They've been so hurt by a woman to the point that they hate all of them, and they need to prove a point in making a woman submissive to them by any means necessary. And that's how that type of man operates, unfortunately, which is so dangerous for men and for women. Like it's dangerous for everybody, honestly. And it never ends well. And that's just the thing is it's a very dangerous narrative to put into the world, especially for young people who watch this kind of content. Like there was I didn't get to finish it, but there was a documentary about that type of thing, the Manosphere one that just came out on Netflix about, the alpha male persona and the incel dumb and just like these podcasters who make this content that's so misogynistic and racist and all this other stuff and their relationships. And that's just the issue. There was one guy who had like this girlfriend who it was like very stereotypical from like I think she was probably, like, South American or something. She had an accent, she looked like he found her in, like, some poor country or whatever, and he was kinda, like, exploiting her and making her, like, basically his slave, like a housewife slave and all this. And he was being so disrespectful and just wouldn't let her speak or be a person, basically, in front of him. And after the show, I think because she felt so humiliated, they broke up. Well, she broke up with him and left. And it's just interesting, it's like only because that happened in public, you left. But you continued to let that behavior happen in private because it was easy when that wasn't being shown to the world on a Netflix documentary that this man is treating you this way. And I think that's the thing is like we don't see how these men treat these women often. Like we don't get to see it. But like that was like a really small she was only on camera for like 5 minutes, less than 5 minutes, and the way that he treated her was subhuman. And that's the problem is, like, they don't want to see women as human, they don't wanna see women as equals, they don't want to see women, they want to abuse them, and that's really the problem with men like that, and that narrative is just so dangerous, you know? So it's not
I
you not
agree.
being wanted, it's you not wanting to be abused, and you know that. You know your power as a woman, you know your strength, you don't wanna do that. Why should you?
I agree. So like I think that's always upset me that there's a video out there, but then I'm like, I just excuse me. I don't care. Like I feel like I'm such a beautiful woman, and it's like I don't really have a reason to go back and forth with the man that I don't even know. Why bother? Like, I feel like just because I talk about the problems in society, that should be a question of yourself. If you don't like what I'm talking about because you hear and feel yourself, you should consider yourself like, oh, I need to work on my shit. Don't get defensive and mad at me. I didn't do nothing to you. And personally, I've never really understood um why passport bros are so upset at people who defend their own country. There's a guy who follows me. I forgot. I think it's Colombian something. He's really cool, and he talks about the negative tourism of Colombia. He is native and Colombian, and he talks about the negative impact from tourism. And he talks about passport bros specifically, and he shows the whole street of the brothel, Medellin. He shows the whole thing, and it's just like this is frustrating. This is not Colombia. This is a brothel, and I give him so much respect. And so many guys literally bully him on a daily. And he is just coming from the aspect of he loves his country and y'all need to stop doing this shit. I think it's so sad to see that. Like I literally learned him. I was like, oh, who he was. Um, I don't know what he's talking about. Sorry, you're gonna get hidden. Um, But basically, you know, it was crazy because I feel like he found my content through that passport bro guy and he defended me and that was really sweet. And it's like this person he cares about women too. He talks about women should be treated this way, this and that. But he just tries to tell people this isn't Colombia. The Colombia that men come down here for is not Colombia. And it's a brothel, it's a prostitution ring. It's a sex worker ring. And literally there was a flight attendant recently who actually disappeared in Medellin. And his body is believed to be found. But yeah, it's like crazy. People want to come down here to party, come down to Colombia and party. I hear whenever I hear a black man talk about he's going down to Colombia, I'm like, you want to go have sex with some sex workers, and I know that for a fact. But they want to act like, oh no, I want to go travel the world. If a man tells you Colombia and Brazil, and he's not educated in anything, not in the native people, not in the native dance, not in the native tongue, if he's not educated about a goddamn thing about Brazil or Colombia, he's going down there because he wants to see these big ass fat asses on Latin women and these big tit jobs and wants to go have fucking sex. That is the truth. Getting a tit and ass job in Colombia and Brazil is fucking like $1. It's risky. It's dangerous. There's so much. Like I was probably hepatitis down there. Like at the end of the day, that's what a man wants to go do, but he wants to disguise it as I want to travel the world. And I don't find men that want to go to Brazil or Colombia to be good people. There's a few people I will say that know the culture, know the music, know the dance, but everyone else, I'm like, you're just going down there for your ass and your tit job and to go have sex. Be honest. There's literally nothing wrong with something that you want to do. If you want to go do bad things, just be fucking honest and stop disguising it. That's my point with passport bros. I'm like, why are you disguising it? And why are you saying that women are better being poor and having sex jobs? Like, that's basically what passport bros say. And I'm like, all right, go have at it. Go do that. But at some point, the abuse gets to be too much for the sex worker. It gets to be too much. And like, if you're growing up in these countries like Colombia, you are taught from an early age to get out of poverty, go get some ass shots, go get a breast job, go be racist, and go to America. That's literally what it was on Drewski's show. There was that girl that allegedly didn't speak English. No, the bitch spoke English. She was just acting stupid. It was funny. Her name was No Ingles, and she was from Nicaragua. And they sat down.
Costa
They
Rica.
sat down and they started talking or whatever. And Drewski literally said, "You know what's down there? Prostitution and stuff." And he was like, making it funny. And she was like, "I don't know what you're talking about." Like she couldn't even make a joke. I don't even think she understood the show was a joke. But it's like she wasn't trying to admit it. She tried to act like, no, I don't know what you're talking about. And it's like, girl, you have the ass the size of the moon. You have a tit job. Come on. You are a sex worker. This is why you're on Drewski's show. But she didn't want to admit it. And it was so strange to me from Latin women. And you're a Latin woman, so maybe you could speak about it. But I was so confused.
Yeah, she's from Costa Rica. Not that it makes
Costa
a difference,
Rica,
but
whatever. I don't same
yeah.
shit. Same shit. She was a sex worker.
But yeah, I just think it's sad. Like I was even thinking about like I was watching this video the other day, um, just about like these countries that are poor, aside from the fact like South America itself is just poor. So that's just how it is. Um, but like you don't see that sadly happening in like I don't know, probably Argentina or some shit because of just how
You don't
white it
see
is.
it happening in like different places in different ways. Like I feel like if
Mhm.
it were to happen in Tokyo or Paris, it would look different. That's all I have to say. I think it
It's
happens
different, yes.
everywhere,
It's
but it would look so
yes.
much different. Even Amsterdam, though. Amsterdam's different though. They legalize stuff and do
Mhm.
it way better. But that's a whole nother topic. But I'm gonna let you
Yes,
finish.
it's
Sorry.
different. And also the fact of, like, even, like, poor, like, uh, like, South Asian countries and stuff like that, like the Philippines and, like, how they have, like, the number 1, like, place basically for, like, child trafficking. Like, it's sad because that's what people expect when they go to these places, and they want to take advantage of that. It's so
Passport bros.
yes,
I'm
and
such a
they
terrible person for talking about them
mhm.
badly.
And that's the problem is, like, people wanna disguise even if they're open about going to these countries to have sex with prostitutes, they still disguise, like, the true reasons of why you have to go to a foreign country that is at a disadvantage to you, and also at a disadvantage to the dollar in order to have sex with women. I think that they like the fact that they think that these women, and sadly most of them will do anything to get money from an American because, our money is just worth more. And it could be worth like you could be paying a few dollars in our money in whatever currency that they have, and it will make you feel like as a man, I feel like it makes them feel so good about themselves that these women are so poor that they are willing to do anything just to eat. Like it's so messed up. And I think that's the reason why sadly so many of them have been, brought back here as these, weird relationships as if they, love each other, but it's like, we know, what happened, anything, in 90 Day Fiancé and things like that, everybody who watches that show knows it's a joke, but it's just, at the same time, it's just, so bizarre, it's just, weird for them to tout this as, a real relationship or real marriage when it's like, that you just brought home somebody who was a prostitute basically, and you're exploiting them and making them do your housework, making them, do all your chores and, it's just disgusting, honestly. And I just think it's sad that it's perpetuated. And I think people too, they get upset that like you said, that there are people who are native and they don't want this to happen and they're trying to prevent it. They get upset when people blow up their spot. They get upset. They get upset because it prevents them from doing these things to native people. And I think it's also because I think it's a good thing though that it's become a thing on the internet because more and more people are realizing that this is something that they do. And I do think that there's some people that are like, yeah, we're not gonna entertain this. We don't want to entertain this in our country because of the fact that, this is just evil. However, it's still gonna happen because some people think that they can get money out of it and that it'll be
And
beneficial for them.
yeah, I feel like the biggest economic factor in it is that, Colombia's highest, to get income in Colombia, that's a part of their economics, and that's not good. Like when I think about Japan, I was just thinking about it because I was looking up LA and looking up the most expensive cities in the world for some reason. Anyways, and I was looking at how New York, Tokyo, and LA, Paris, they were all up in there, and China. It was basically just New York, Los Angeles, China, Japan, and Paris, and the UK, and those were the few spots. It was a list of 10, but then within that, it would be like, okay, Tokyo, it would be Osaka, like things like that. Um, of in like the highest median income, and when I think of those incomes, sex work is not in any of them. When I'm telling you right now, sex work is at the bottom of the list in that income. Sex work is not high in there. So it's interesting though, because if you put in like the poorest countries, like Colombia, you're going to get sex work being such a high tourism rate, which is insane because that's a lot when it comes to STDs. That's a lot when it comes to pregnancies and single moms. It's a lot. And I feel like there's a link between Latin America and the Brazilian butt lift and boob jobs that I think American men find fascinating. And it's like that's when the comparison starts to happen, where you have Black men that will say that these women are better. And I'm like, don't tell me anybody's better than me, one. But then secondly, I don't want to have to get an ass job. I don't want to have to get a boob job. I love my body so fucking much. Like, if this were the 90s, I would have been like number one in the entire room. But because people can buy my assets, y'all want to put me down at like a number 10. Y'all could do that, but I'm still number one for me. You're not going to stop that. So it's like so frustrating the way that Black men view the female body when it comes to Latin America that isn't even theirs. And I'm like, at the end of the day, when you really think about it, everybody gonna have some ugly ass fucking children. When you really think about it, I'm like, they don't look like that.
Yeah. Also, I think that the issue is that men like that view women as disposable at the end of the day. And so they don't have an issue with somebody buying something it's like you view women as a sexual object and you view them as disposable and it's like anybody can do that and and all end up looking the same and whatever and it's like for them it's like I can dispose you when you make me upset. like, if I don't like you anymore, you do something, I'm gonna dispose of you because you're expendable. Like, you have to be on your best
Versus
behavior
like,
to
sorry to
continue
interrupt you,
having that
versus
money.
like Canada and the US, mainly
Mhm.
Canada. When I was in Canada, or when I do go to Canada, they always tell me like the cab drivers, everybody, the black and I love Canada because you see so many black couples. Like I fucking love it. But basically I had a cab driver just telling me that they don't take divorce like they don't take that shit lightly. Canada do not play. If you marry somebody, you're gonna have to stick with them for 10 years. If you don't, you're getting fined. You're paying for like 50% of their income. You got it to even marry somebody from Canada. Like if it's the man I heard, they have to show and maybe the women, but all I know is if it's the Canadian person, they have to show they can provide for that person if they're not Canadian. And I was like, dang, they don't take marriage as a joke. They don't take sex as a joke. They don't take kids as a joke in Canada. You about to have a kid? Where's your money? They don't play up there. They don't play. And it's interesting to see how black men don't go to Canada to date. They never do. But they'll go to Mexico or go to South America and then just be so fucking cheap with them girls. I'm like, wow.
Yeah, also because it's expensive. And they'd have to pay someone basically what they're worth. But it's like when you view somebody as less than you and also disposable, I feel like it feels like justifiable for them to go to countries that are really poor, where they look down on these women and they see them as less than human. It's like, well, of course I'm gonna take advantage of you. You
But
deserve
they
it.
say they're better though. They're better than American women.
Yeah, because they can take advantage of them, like, they can take advantage of their situation, they can exploit them, like, that's the only reason why they're better. They never see them as better they don't like women. They don't like women. Like, men who do this don't like women. If you wanna exploit somebody, you don't like women, you see them as less than you. So, there is no bar of, like, respect for these men when it comes to women. It's always women are less than men, women are worse than men. So it's justifiable for me to want to take advantage of women. And what is the most easy place to take advantage of a woman? Well, I'm gonna find it and I'm gonna exploit it. And that to me is better because it's easier. It's
I
easier
agree
for
with
me
you,
to
but then
exploit
there's
that.
people like Cardi B and Selena Powell that only have sex with black men or only want to be with black men, and they have the same body type as the women in Colombia that get BBLs and breast jobs. What do you have to say for that and make of that? There has to be a correlation in understanding what is it that black men see worth. Like that's where I start to get confused because I'm like, black men must be at the epitome of hell if this is what we're doing here. And why is it, because you're Latin, why is it that Latin women who do these things to their body want black men so bad? Like, why can't you be with a Latin guy? Why can't you be with a white guy? Why is it the black man that you have to go after? Granted, I think really it's because the African booty is big as fuck. Our asses are fat, our tits are huge. So I'm like, you're trying to make your body look like ours, but I'm pretty sure we give black men their whackings if they ever try to come crooked. So
Right. I mean, it's definitely about like, the history of racism in the culture, and just in culture in general of wanting to uh also just like as into for Cardi B, like somebody like her, she's not seen as desirable because she isn't like a white typical white Latin person. Like she's just not. And so people from the DR who are there are not going to see her as attractive, unfortunately. Like they're just not. So it's like that amongst like just the racism that and the colorism that happens in the DR, the Caribbean or anywhere for that matter, it just adds to the fact of like wanting to look like something you are not and trying to do anything for the validation of a man. And I feel like if you're deriving what you should like look like by any validation of any man, then you're already failing. Like you already are exploiting yourself before they even have a chance to exploit
I
you. And
agree.
I just think
I
that
just
it's
wanted to
of
say
course
hi
it's
to
not
Demille Lola. Sorry, that's just a subscriber. I gotta subscribe to your channel because it says TV, so I want to know what you talk about. But she's really cool. I want to know what's your ethnicity and like where you're from, if you don't mind. But also, we'll continue the topic. Sorry, I interrupted you. I just wanted to say she's like
that's okay.
cool.
Hi. Um But yeah, I think that it's like it is a point, obviously, that not all black men or black people think this way, of course. But it is true that I think that some people who are very misogynistic are obviously going to feel that when they, you know,
Wait,
uh,
I'm gonna
yeah, go
pause
ahead.
you for one moment because I have a question for Demilola. How is your experience dating? Oh, not all black people thinking like that. How is your experience dating in Texas? If you have, do you date black men? What is your experience? What is your thoughts on Nigerian men? What is your thoughts on racism, this and that? If it exists within that, I just want to know your experience. If you want to put in the comments while we continue to talk. Sorry to interrupt you, DJ AAA.
It's okay. I don't remember what I was saying. Uh,
I'm sorry, I just
yeah.
didn't want to lose her.
That's okay. But yeah, I agree with the whole like not everybody is thinking that way, obviously. I just do think when somebody is misogynistic and they also have these internal racial struggles, it will obviously breed something that is just abnormal in them. It just is going to happen, unfortunately. Like it's something that is a trauma response, I feel like,
I
to
agree.
and I feel like it's something that's just not addressed. Like it hasn't been fully addressed. Reparations haven't been given for colonialism. So it's just like, you
I'm gonna just
know,
read her comment real
yeah.
quick. I've not dated anyone in Texas yet. I'm new. How is that? Do you see black men dating black women in Texas? Is it African men? Is it Caribbean? Is it African American men? Do you see the opposite? Like what do you see and how do you feel about what you see? Is it just normal? Does it feel strange? Does it feel off? Are they nice to you? Or do they just hate black women or are they cool? Sorry I cut you off.
I wonder what part of Texas you're in as well.
All right, but you said men have approached you. Obviously, you're gorgeous. Most men date white women here. Ugh. See, that's what I'm saying. I don't want us to have
Well,
that
also what part of
bleaching. That
Texas as
yeah. What
well?
part of Texas are you from, or you stay in it? If you don't mind, or if you want to say the county, if that's better, or if you just want to say, where you're near. Racial unions here. Many white men also date black women. See, I feel like it's so different though. The men who approach me are black and Chinese. Okay, all right, look, I'm in the Asian part of town, and I'm like so curious to date an Asian guy. I don't
Even
know,
Breakfast
but
Memorial.
I don't know where Memorial is. I have a laptop. I can open it up.
Because I do think that location matters. Texas is an interesting place. I feel like obviously inner city is gonna be way more diverse than anything else. I'm looking it up. But that's the thing about Texas. It's kind of strange. It's very blue inner city,
You're
and
in
then everything else
Houston.
is
Houston
very
is supposed to be diverse,
Memorial.
but see, Dallas would be a place where I think that black men
Dallas.
would date white women only. I don't know why. It just feels religious. And we talked about religious and black men and them dating white women because we just, saw about the whole Vic situation. But that makes me feel weird and it feels like a bleaching. Like I said, it feels like a bleaching of the black race. I want people to date who they want to date. I do. I have no issue. But when it comes to black men and what I've seen and visualized with my damn eyes, like I wish I didn't have eyes sometimes. I really do, but let's not go, we don't want that to happen. Um, what I see is always a nigga that don't do shit. He smells like weed. His pants are sagging. If his pants ain't sagging, then he's going all the way on the other side. And he got a button down on. He sounds like a white man. He dressed like a white man, act like a white man. He might even be DL. So it's like two extremes. There's never like a normal black guy that is dating outside his race. And I literally like had somebody recently, it was somebody I didn't like it because the girl's mad pretty and stuff like that. She's African, and I saw one of her family members was with someone who was not black, and I'm just like, the picture looks so off here. Everybody was black except for that one person that I think her brother was dating or something, and I was like, he looked like a black
Yeah,
nerd. Why is it that
for
a
the one
black
that's like
nerd has
birthdays
to
or
be with someone
something.
who's not black? Come on now, like come on. Why we got to do that? Let me see. I'm just gonna read the comment. Texas is diverse, lots of Nigerians, Mexicans, and whites. I really want to. I wish there was a place where I could go speed dating to see, but at the same time, I'm like, practicing my me, so I don't know. But that is interesting. I don't know. But people have told me Texas is not a place to date. I forgot who said that. Somebody told me. I don't know. I know a lot of stuff is going on down there getting passed around, so please be careful. But what are your thoughts, Amanda?
Sorry, yeah. That was on the news recently, Texas. Specifically Houston, though. But yeah, be aware. Be aware. Anyways, well, always be aware. But yeah, I just think it's I forget what I was saying. I don't even know what I was saying. My brain is running out of steam. What were we talking about?
We were just talking about basically the bleaching thing that I was
Mhm.
talking about before, and how it feels like black men are mostly responsible. But like I said, I want everyone to date who they want to date. I just feel like when it comes to black women dating outside their race, it's not really so race directed. Like I see black women and they look so fucking happy. They look so happy. We saw a black woman in the park. It was a thick black girlie. She was with this white guy. Looked like they met in college, and she had a baby, and it was so fucking beautiful, so precious. But whenever I see a white person with a black man, it's always angry, upset, mad, cursing, angry, upset, masculine, super masculine. Like it's never happiness. It's always some shit.
Yeah, because I feel like oftentimes though, like men in general, the problem is just men. Like the common denominator is just men being the issue. And yes, it's like the black men part, but it's because they're men. Like having the advantage of being men at the same time is a disadvantage because, you go through different issues and especially emotionally like not being able to deal with any of your traumas. I feel like women, like it's allowed you're allowed to, and I feel like, especially for Black women, you can't separate your your womanhood and your Blackness from your identity, and I feel like a lot of Black men try to do that because they're men, and that advantage of being men has gotten them into spaces a aside from them just being Black, and I feel like women just go through it so much harder, obviously, so it's like a lot of Black women, I feel like, have a lot of integrity, in their identity because they have to. Like, it's something that you have to, and I feel like some Black men, they want to forego that because they were given a chance as a man to go and enter a
I
space,
agree. But when we
you
say
know?
things like this that are true, I start to feel bad about myself because it reminds me of that talk I told you that, I
Mhm,
was having and listening to the negative self-talk. It's like things could feel like a fact, but that fact doesn't feel good. Like the everybody keeps
mhm.
saying like black women are at a disadvantage when it comes to dating because we're black and a woman, but a black man is at an advantage when it comes to dating because they're black and a man. I believe that is true. I just think it's unfortunate, and I don't want to live life thinking woe's me.
No,
I
I
don't
agree
want to
with
live
that,
life thinking woe's me. Like it
and
shouldn't
that's
be like this. When
yeah,
I was in community college, like 10 years ago, I wasn't thinking like this. I didn't give a damn. I didn't give a
mhm,
fuck. I don't know what happened where
and
I
that's the
had
thing
these
though,
negative
like,
thoughts.
um, I say this to
I'm gonna
say,
grab my
like
charger. I'll be back. I'm listening
mm,
though.
I say this to say, like, I don't think that, the whole entire narrative itself is true. It's just more so the fact that there are things that we can't not talk about, as in racism and dating and colorism and dating because it does exist. However, I do feel that, statistics don't lie, and the fact that Black on Black relationships are still more statistically popular in America at least, and probably worldwide, like, overall, it is a fact. So it's just like, there are things to be said about that. I just think though it's true that not everybody you can't just ignore things that happen, but at the same time, you not ignoring something that happens to be the case for some people who can't deal with their trauma and their Blackness doesn't mean that you have to feel bad about yourself or put down on yourself because I think that it is an advantage that you are strong in your Blackness and you love yourself, you have integrity, you love yourself as a woman, you're not misogynistic, you don't want to fit into any misogynistic ideals. I think that in itself is very important. So it's like, that in itself is not a disadvantage because to fall into being misogynistic and misogynoir, that's a disadvantage in my opinion, and I think it's a disadvantage for men when they want to feed into those stereotypes as well, like, that's a disadvantage. Why do you think they're unhappy? Why do you think those relationships often don't end
I agree.
well?
I'm gonna say two things. I just made you a moderator. Um, I need more moderators, and I'm gonna check out your channel, and you're super cool. But I also want to read your comment. She said, "I don't see a problem with interracial relationships. I agree, but then getting used to unfamiliar cultures can be hard, and we're not at a disadvantage at all. I feel you on that. Like I feel that way, but then I have people telling me you're at a disadvantage, and I'm like, I don't really want to be. Like, I feel I'm so fucking pretty. Like, I'm so sweet. I'm so ambitious. Like, I'll be having a good time. Like, I can have a good old time. I literally was just in Japan by myself and had the best time of my life. So I'm like, I don't know. I mean, who don't want to join that, I guess? But I'm like, but I do feel like the whole situation of being picked, you have men that will prefer somebody. Literally, I was just talking with a man about the guy that I really liked. He broke my heart basically. He was very just a terrible person and wanted to have control, and I didn't give it to him. He didn't like that I lived far away and he couldn't just pop in and see me when he wanted to and do what he wanted to my body. He didn't say that, but that's the idea. He didn't have control. So me being able to have ambition and go somewhere, he didn't like that. He also lost the job. So I was like, bro, come on. Then you had the other guy who was a good guy, but he was autistic, unfortunately. And I say unfortunately as in he wasn't managing his diagnosis of being autistic, but he had good in him and he had a lot of wealth. And that's what I'm all about. But with that being said, it was like a situation where he loved that I was ambitious. And I'm comparing because the one guy lost his job, the other guy had a good job, and him having so much wealth, he didn't care about me at all. Like, as in, he didn't care about me making money or not. He just wanted me to be ambitious and be creative. And he called me cute. And like, he just loved that about me. Now, his autism, he needs to go figure that out. So I didn't go through with it. But he had money, so I noticed that too. Like him having money, he didn't care for wherever I was going. He just wanted me to be happy. And I've been with another guy like that before, where they just wanted me to be happy. They didn't care where I wanted to go. They just wanted me to be happy because they had the finances too. Oh wait, hold on. Let me read. Yes, moderator. It is a shitty propaganda to even assume being black is a disadvantage for women in any way. Those who know quality. I'm glad you choose yourself over trying to chase any man. Thank you. I appreciate that. I like your talk. But Amanda, what are your thoughts? Well, DJ Triple A, sorry.
Wait, hold on, I'm in the bathroom, just give me a second.
It's okay. But I really like what you said. I want to go back to when I tell you, if y'all met me in community college, you'd be like, oh, this girl don't give a fuck. That's why I wish I started YouTube earlier. I really did. And me wearing my Christmas pajamas. I'm glad I did it. I feel good. I love meeting people like you, Demilola. Like, I'm so happy. I'm gonna check out your channel. I can't wait. I'm gonna do that tonight. Um, it's the best part of making content. Like, I'd rather meet like one or two real amazing people than have a whole bunch of fake people in here. And I appreciate that. I just feel like I want more people to come to the community, but I've been having a hard time figuring out how. And I'm not a producer, so I don't be knowing what I'm doing. I just go with the wind and make things certain days and just be talking. But I try. It is what it is. But Amanda, where you at? Hello?
Me? Yeah, I'm here, sorry, I'm just in the bathroom. Um, but yeah, I think
Oh,
that's
okay.
that's
Then I'll
what
let
I was
you. I'll let you.
okay. Go ahead. I was just trying to say that, I agree too that it isn't a disadvantage to have integrity and just love yourself. Like at the end of the day, like that will get rid of a lot of bad people in your life, regardless. Even if it feels like it's a lot, there are bad people out there, and that's not something you can ignore. You're gonna come into contact with people that don't like themselves and have a lot of trauma that is unresolved, and they don't want to deal with it. And that's not your fault. Just because you meet people doesn't mean it's your fault, or you're
Like,
drawing
I
these
feel
people.
like I felt like an idiot because remember, I'm gonna say his name because don't y'all know him? Oh, his name's Chandler. Y'all know who he is. And I loved the way he looked. I thought he was a gorgeous man. and I thought it was so real. Her channel is called DJ AAA. She's a DJ. She has a couple gigs coming up, so check her out in New York City. Um, but what you call it? Not Chandler. Yes, his name was Chandler. Oh my god, I love. He was a gorgeous man, but it was sad to me because we were talking and it felt so like. Remember when you said when you're texting someone, like it's like you gain this relationship you think you have with them, and then literally I went looking at his Facebook. Not gorgeous men do the most. It's true. It is true. I looked at his Facebook for some reason, I don't know, and I found that he still had pictures of his ex up, and it was giving wife and kids moments, and I felt like an idiot. I felt like an idiot. I was like, how did I not know this? He told me he wasn't married anymore, he got divorced, and I believed him, and I was like, man, I felt like a dummy. Now, two things could have been true. He could have been divorced, but he still had pictures up of his ex as if he was trying to still be a godly man. So I was like, you're lying. You lied to me the whole time. And this was at the moment where I was done with him, but I was just curious to see what was wrong with him. And then the relationship just went downhill. Like he got so disrespectful. He got so jealous. Me going to Japan pissed him off. Like this is what I meant by like a man that doesn't care for my ambition. It's really sad. Like when a man just wants to see you as sex and you don't do shit, so they don't want to date you. Let me say, be in a relationship with you because me, I travel, I'm independent, I love me, I post myself, I don't wear makeup, I just love myself. And I'm not saying girls who wear makeup you don't love yourself. I'm just saying like they can't throw something at me to make me fit in. They can't throw something at me to make me do that I don't want to do. Like I feel like men don't like that I'm ambitious, and it's been feeling crappy.
I just think that's insecure men, and it has to be reinforced that that's the case. Because if somebody isn't insecure about their identity as a man or insecure about their masculinity, they're not going to try to over masculinize themselves in any way. And they're not going to try to make you feel bad about your femininity or the things that you do and your ambition. They're not going to feel bad. They're going to want to support you, you know? If they're insecure about that, then that just means that they're not ambitious enough. Like that's really it.
And thank you for your comment. It's great to be ambitious. I agree with that. Like, I don't want to lose my ambition just because I feel like people who don't have ambition get picked. Like, they get picked to sit at home and start a family, and I don't. The handsome man that I met was a full blown liar. Yes, like I feel like I want to be like Toya from Married to Medicine. If you watch Married to Medicine, you know who I'm talking about. If you don't, please check it out. I feel like I'm giving Toya from Married to Medicine, where it's like I have all this ambition, all these thoughts, all this everything, and I just need a man who got a bunch of money and is a nerd. So I feel like that's gonna be it because the ones that are giving Jim handsome man, it's just not. It's not given for me. I don't know. But then what is handsome? Like I feel like so on Married to Medicine, there's a man named Steve and he's married to Dr. Mimi. They're both light skinned. I love them because you know what they say about light skinned couples when it's two light skinned people, it's like, whoa, that's a rarity. And yes, it is. And they usually are the kindest people out there. I'll tell you that. And besides saying that they're light skinned, they have such an amazing personality as a couple, Dr. Mimi and Steve, that it brings out more attractiveness in them. And as far as her husband, like I think her husband is attractive. He's a football player, has a nice body, has a nice face. Everything about him is just giving. It's giving like he's light skinned, but he has his African features. But what makes him so attractive is he's a good fucking guy. Like he's so nice. He has a child who has autism and they take care of their child. They have empathy. They show frustration, in the situation, but they show love. And that adds to the sexiness, the handsomeness. That's what I was trying to say. Like, I feel like my point of attraction is if you are well groomed, I love that. If you smell good, I love that. If you work out, I love that. You don't gotta be super, super buff. You could be thick or skinny. I'm okay with it. But as long as you take care of yourself is what I love. Seeing you take care of yourself. You don't have to look a certain way. Just taking care of yourself, taking care of your heart and your mind is what makes me attracted to a man. And when you take care of that, usually it looks good. It does. It looks good. So that's just what I say for attraction. Like I'm not super picky. I love Africanness. So if you got your African features, come on in. But it's like I'm open to dating all races. I just want that specific race that dates me to love me. You're gonna love who I am as a black person because I'm not erasing myself for you. And that's what I feel like I see when it comes to black men. Literally in the supermarket today, I saw two black men that looked like they smelled like Black and Miles, and they do nothing. They were in Target. It was a Spanish lady buying. She was a little overweight, but she was okay. She wasn't too attractive for me, but they had a child in the cart, and she looked about 8, and she literally looked over at him. And it was two black men. So I'm like, is that his brother? It's like you took this woman, this Spanish woman took two black men shopping with her and her child in her car because they I saw it was her car. And I was like, what the fuck is going on? I was like, and what she did was she turned around. It was like a $200 bill. She turned around and she's like to one of the black guys. And I'm like, what the, and they looking and the other black guy, and they trying to like get some cash to send her on the phone. They trying to send her some cash. And I'm like, and she looked pissed. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, what are other races accepting from black men? Because this is a no go. This is a no go, bro. We're not doing this right now. Like, she looks so mad at the men, and they weren't attractive at all. But it's like a conversation to be had. Like, this is what black men that don't want to do shit with their lives do. Like you have sex with your preference and you get them pregnant, and then you out here struggling for coins with your brother. He was literally, it looked like it was like Uncle Day, like he came out too to get her a toy or something. I don't know, but it was giving like she wasn't happy. The way that woman turned around and put her hand out, like, are y'all gonna send the money already? And I'm like, damn, like, aren't you supposed to be the preferable one? Why are you so angry? I don't know what the fuck is going on. Like that's not attractive to me. That's what I'm saying. Like that type of shit ain't attractive. So I don't know what it is that black men are seeing right now. Not all though. I think you did have a good point, Demilola. It's not all. It's not all. I think we need to not think that way. It's just some stuff that we're seeing. It's like a survival instinct, maybe. What's your thoughts?
So I'm eating a piece of toast. Um, Let me swallow. Hold on one second. Yeah, I think too it's like some men like that, they think that they can I think because of just, like, the toxic narrative, they think that being with, like, somebody who has, like, white proximity will get them somewhere, and then they but the only people that they have access to don't really have money or anything, and so, basically, it's just kinda like, I don't know, they all end up
Sorry,
poor.
Demilola asked, "What's my question?" I was asking, why do you think it is that certain black men, not all, choose to be with their preference while they're unhappy financially, mentally, and even health wise? Why do they choose a preference?
I thought you were gonna read her comment.
You can read it if you
Um,
want. You part of
okay.
the convo too. I'm reading it.
I know, I was eating. Um, yeah, I agree though that it is a construct because that's kind of the point. It's like to make something like preferable, it's kind of like you have to lie about it and make people feel like it's better for some reason when objectively it's not. There is no better or worse, you know? So it's kind of like to make people feel like something is superior, like white supremacy in itself is a construct. It's an idea that is formated and lied upon to get people to believe that is true. And I think that it's definitely perpetuated outside of just white people to make people feel like whiteness
I
is
agree. Should
superior.
I read this comment? So, proximity to whiteness, sorry to cut you off, is an empty construct. They may like their body structure and tone better. We can do without them. If they don't want us, we don't need them. And I agree with you on that. I just have a mental problem of like, anytime I see it, I get irked. I never used to get irked, but until I started maybe dating and I started seeing, issues in the dating community, I started to get irked. I literally dated a man who dated a Latin woman. and he got a vasectomy because of her. And he doesn't label it that way, but after the way he explained what happened, I was like, you got a vasectomy because somebody wanted to smoke pot and do what they wanted to do and let you just shoot up the club. Like that's ridiculous. Like it was insane to me that he made that decision, and it's still, that woman is still in his life till today, and he knows that she's a bad person. And I'm like, this was your first relationship, was it with the Latin woman, and she was terrible to you, and you still have her around. And she has convinced him that dating is to be having sex with people and doing what he wants. And I literally had to tell him that's not how that works. I was like, you should know better. And his father was actually like, very physical with him because of the way he was. And it was given like this Latin woman came in and told him, nothing's wrong with you. Everything's wrong with them. And I feel like that's the thing that Latinas do when it comes to Black men. And I find it to be such a big issue. Like Black women, I don't find that we do that. We don't tell Black men,
Pacifying.
nothing's wrong with you, it's them. Nothing's wrong with you, it's them. We say it's you, not them. And I feel like I don't know, maybe you're Latin, you could speak to it, DJ AAA, because I find that a lot of Latin women do that for bad Black men.
It's called pacifying, like, you're basically pacifying a man, like, it happens because of this, I think, the toxic masculinity in our culture as well, like, I mean, it's in every culture, but, like, it's the fact that, like, as a woman, if you're in this misogynistic, mindset, you feel like you have to pacify a man to keep them around and make them feel like whatever they do, you'll support, which is why I think a lot of people wanna be ride or dies rather than, like, even against their own safety or their own, like, will. You feel like you have to pacify someone and make sure they feel like everything they're doing is correct and, that they can't be wrong because if they're wrong, it's gonna hurt their fragile male ego and blah, 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 you know?
Is there
Yeah.
a reason why Latin women do that? Even my friend,
I'm
like
just
back
saying
in
the
community
culture, like
college, she did it a lot too, and we ended up our friendship. We just broke up our friendship because I couldn't take it no more.
it's just misogyny. I mean, that's literally what it is, and misogyny from colonialism, like, that's all it is, like, everything could be traced back to racism and colonialism, like, quite literally everything, like, even in our own culture, like, the fact that like, you think about it this way, like, indigenous communities, especially, like, Latin, um, everybody has a role. Everybody is equal, as in they have a role and they have a purpose. Women and men separately, so they're not no one is considered superior or inferior, whatever you have to say. But when whiteness is brought over as something that's a superior idea, which involves like, whiteness involves the brainwashing, like she's saying, for women to feel like they are inferior, because that is what Eurocentric ideas are, like, colonialism in itself is making women feel like they are inferior to men and vice versa. So it's like, when a whole group of men, white men, is coming to basically colonize and brainwash people, they make them feel like, "Okay, we're gonna tell you this idea now that you didn't know because you're uncivilized. All women are inferior to you. Now do what you will with that idea." And they present it to them as fact. So it's like when people are brainwashed, they're going to think that this is true, which is not. But that's the problem. It's like if you're brainwashed, you're gonna start to think, "Oh, yeah, I am inferior to a man. I have to pacify him. My role is to be a housewife. My role is to be submissive. My role is to be quiet. My role is to let him hit me. My role is to let him abuse me." Like, that's the problem. Everything could be traced back to that. It is brainwashing, quite literally.
And literally, I saw a Black man with a white woman at my job, and I see him. He try to, look like the hood ghetto Black man with some white, they call it white trash, but I ain't gonna say that. But basically, I see them, and I'm looking at his phone because I could see his phone, and literally on Twitter, he's watching a white woman getting beat up by a Black guy. Like it was DV. He's literally watching it on Twitter, and he didn't really have a reaction. It wasn't a laugh that came out. It wasn't a like, "This is so awful, babe. Do you see this?" It was giving, "This is what's on his timeline," because it gave like this. He follows Black men that date white women, so it was like maybe just a video of maybe his somebody he subscribed to, or and he saw it, and I'm like, you're literally sitting next to a white woman right now, and you're not even thinking like to delete that, or he just watched it for a while. And I'm like, I don't know what the situation was. It could have been maybe his favorite rapper. I don't know, but it was TV, and it was of a black man and a white woman, and I just couldn't believe he was watching that. I was like, what the heck is going on?
Yeah, I don't really know what to say in response to that, but I think that it is an
As
issue.
in, like, he was watching DV of literally
I know.
himself. Like, he was sitting next
Mhm.
to a white woman, and he's dating a white woman, but he's watching content of DV against a white woman. And I'm like, why are you watching that? Like, it was giving like World Star. Like, he watches World Star content. That's what it was giving.
Mhm. I think too it's important to remember though that a lot of people who feel like this are not actively thinking about the things that they're doing, which, like, case in point to that guy, he's not thinking anything is wrong with him watching this content next to somebody, and maybe it's because he just doesn't give a fuck about this girl, probably, but at the same time, it's like, you don't see yourself reflected in the content that you watch. There is an issue there. It's like you have a miseducation about yourself and the things that you're doing to feel like, "That's not me," and I think that's the thing too is, like, a lot of men probably, like, black men, it's like they wanna pretend so much that they're, like, so hyper masculine next to these women, and so, like, I'm gonna be extra I don't wanna say extra ghetto, but it's like pretend like they're not losing something about their blackness to be with this person, when really I think it's like, you kinda have to put up that act, and you think that being violent is also the answer to that, which is why I think a lot of them are violent with them, you know?
Let me read the comment from Demalola. I'm learning American history and federal government right now. Oh, good for you. And I can tell you that the whole concept of colonialism and slavery is, I can't, absmally
Ab
crucial? Cruel?
abysmally.
Abysmally. Okay, big words. Abysmally cruel. The society hasn't been kind to black men, so I understand that ultra masculine persona. I like that you said that. You have a little bit of more grace than me. I do like the way you put that. I think that I agree that society hasn't been kind to black men, but then I see people like Dwayne Wade and Chris Paul. I always use those basketball players as examples. Even throw LeBron James in there. And they are with black women, have black children, and they have so much respect for them. Their wives are doing their things, speaking up. They see their wives as feminine. Like, this is what I'm trying to get at. I'm like, why is it that there's black men in my community trying to tell me I'm not feminine? I'm like, what is not feminine about me? I'm a woman. Like, what is it? Like, I'm not white. I don't get why I would want to be. I'm confused.
Because their idea of femininity has to do with submissiveness. That's it. And if your
But why
idea
is
has to
white
do
why is white submissiveness, and why is that a good thing?
because think about even during slavery, the whole fact of like I said before, colonialism itself is to brainwash people to tell them that being submissive equals femininity and that's whiteness. Like, they want to bring like, when white people came here, they brought with them white supremacy ideals, and that in itself is why misogyny is a thing, and misogyny and racism cannot be separated, you
Yeah, but
know?
I like a good point that Demilola says most black celebrities wife white women because it seems to give them an idea of success. I agree with that. And why is that a thing though? Like, that makes me feel so invalid as a woman and a black woman, is that I'm seen as, I will make you unsuccessful, or you didn't get out of the ghetto, or you didn't, like, it's kind of sad that, I can't change my skin color, and the fact of the matter is that there are wealthy black men that see me as unsuccessful because of my skin.
I think too, sadly, to that point, it's like the idea of white proximity in itself or of wealth itself is tied to white proximity. So it's like this idea that you have to be in white only spaces to feel successful. You have to be, to kind of silence your blackness to be successful, which I don't think is necessarily true because there are
That
black
don't make
people
me
that are
feel better when it
successful.
comes to dating. It gives like,
Well, let
oh,
me
black
say
women
what I
should
have to
just settle
say.
for getting abused and being poor.
Well, let me say what I have to say is that I don't think that that's true though. Like, this is an idea that white people want to spread as a part of white supremacist ideals, but that's not true because there are so many people like Doechii, for instance, who worked hard, didn't do anything crazy, and she got to where she is by being authentically herself and authentically Black, and also promoting those ideas to people. And, I think white people wanna be like, "Oh, she's an industry plant, blah, blah, blah," because they're afraid of the idea that if people just were confident enough in their Blackness and in the community of Black people that they could just do whatever they want, honestly, you could, and I think that's the idea. They wanna make Black people feel like you can't do anything when you can, and it has happened before, but it's also, like, those ideas of, like, unrealistic wealth is never good for anybody. Like, being a billionaire shouldn't be a goal for anybody. To be wealthy or, like, to be stable is fine, but it's like they want to push this idea of, like, everybody should be this greedy capitalist and just, like, leave their whole like, in order to do that, you have to leave everyone behind in your community, like, that's the point, is, like, you are exploiting yourself to do that, and that's never positive, and I don't think that you have to do that to be happy in life or to have money as well, like, those 2 things are so
I
different,
think
you
that's
know?
why I like to watch Married to Medicine because it makes me feel like and think to myself, well, you will never be able to date or be with a man who is wealthy because you're a black man because you're black. And I feel like Married to Medicine makes me think otherwise. They're from a different generation, which is unfortunate, but you know, they're black couples that are wealthy and I don't know. It just is really sad. Like, just like think about just sitting there thinking at night. I do this sometimes, and it's like, when I hear these things like, oh, white women means that you made it, you're successful. That's the way black men think. And that makes me feel sad because then what happens to us? What happens to black women? We don't mean anything. We're nothing. We don't deserve to have children and have a wealthy family. We don't deserve to have education. And then how many divorce stories do we hear of this white woman taking all your fucking money? And then we're the bad guy every single time.
Yeah, well, that's why it's not true. Like, this is just a perceived thing by a group of a few people, which it may seem like a lot, but at the same time, on the grand scheme of things, it is a few. Because for it to statistically be still true that Black people are with Black people, like, the proof is in the pudding in itself. So it's just like this is a perceived idea spread by white supremacy, to people that are not educated enough to feel the difference of the weight of it, honestly. And it's like, unfortunately, yeah, you will come into contact with those people, but at the same time, it doesn't mean that everybody thinks that way, and it's also
Why
just
do you
not
think they use black
factual.
men? Because they don't use black women. They get so upset at Venus Williams and Serena. They get so
Mhm.
upset at them. Meanwhile, they're just bringing in more money. They didn't find a poor white man. Like it's never for us, for black women, when we date out, we don't find a poor person. Majority of the time we don't. We're dating up. But when a black man dates out, it's I made it. Look at me. I got this white girl on my side. Like and it's like, what does she do? Nothing. What happened? Got her pregnant. Now there's a messy divorce. And now she dating a white man she's always wanted to date because she got some money.
Because they're men. That's quite literally it. They're just men. Women have always had an advantage, let me say, of dating up. Men don't really have that. So it's
But
kind of
what
like,
women? Black women or like what are
I'm
you
just
trying to
saying in
say?
general, women, like, I just feel like it's women.
But
Women do because
that
you're
doesn't
with.
make sense because we just said that they don't want to, these celebrities don't want to date black women. So I think that you're contradicting yourself. That's
What I'm
not
saying
making
is in, like, you
sense.
talking about, like, Serena and all this, like, them being able to date they're dating up is what you're saying,
Yeah,
like,
but
that's the
they're
point.
black women. I feel like there's a
Yeah,
difference because when it comes to white women that are poor, those men are not looking for them. But black men are looking for poor white women, which is the issue.
because
And
that's
then
all
that
that they
white
have
woman gets
access to,
pregnant
in my
or Nepo
opinion.
baby gets pregnant, then they get divorced and it's messy.
Yeah, because that's what I was saying. In my opinion, that's all they have access to. They don't really have the same access to dating, quote unquote, up, whatever that means. Like, it's like the people that are around them or that are willing to even be with them are people who are undesirable. So it's just like, That's just what it is. They're undesirable. It's like, nobody really wants to date that type of white like, those are the undesirable white women that are kind of left over, that are easily accessible and also insecure, and still, like, have these ideas of white misogyny embedded in their brains, like, there's a very specific type of, like, misogyny when it comes to white women and the way that they operate in relationships that has been embedded in just, like, whiteness. Like, the way that they are considered to be like, they're made to feel like they're an important counterpart to white men all their lives, but at the same time, it's like, really, you're just useless. You're just around. And that's kinda like what white men, in my opinion like, not in my opinion, it's just a fact that they have done to them over time to make them feel like they are so useless and that their only role is to be in a relationship with somebody and to be submissive to them. And that's what whiteness is. Like white feminist, ideals is like they're gonna be submissive, which is why I think like like in the feminist talks, like white feminism just ruins kind of everything because it's like you avoid a lot of the issues that white women deal with are different than what black women deal with and other people deal with. Like they go through life in a different way and the problems that they have are different, you know. You're muted.
We're gonna end it here. I don't want to keep you up because you have work, but I want to thank Demilola for coming to my channel and having a good conversation. And welcome to the moderator gang. Thank you for always being respectful in the comments, and thank you DJ AAA for the conversation. We're gonna end it here. Anything else you want to say?
But I'm tired. Check out my channel.
And she has some gigs coming up. Maybe you should post them on your channel.
Yeah. Once I know more, I'll post some other stuff. Thanks,
All
y'all.
right. Good night.
Bye.